Hi, welcome to Ciel YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 20. Chapter 4. The Siege of the Divine Tree. Tempest Force. Ciel is also visible. He is standing still in the air, or rather floating in the air. It is unnecessary in the midst of battle, but he does not seem to intend it, and I guess he cannot stop it. Anyway, Leon and Zelario are on both sides of Ciel. They seem to get along well with each other, so it seems that Ciel-san is right, and they have really agreed to cooperate with each other. It is not so much Zelario's betrayal but Feldway's lack of virtue. Well, they don't complain about it, since it saved their life in this case. I will keep in mind that what will happen after this case is over, that is the question. I'll leave this to Ciel. Benimaru, final confirmation, are you sure? It is perfect. Leon Dono and Zelario Dono are now under my command, and there is nothing to worry about. I was satisfied with his confident answer. The game is played in an instant. They are approaching it several dozen times the speed of sound, so if they miss their first move, it's over. The time it would take for Milim to fire her Drago Nova would be shorter than the blink of an eye. All she has to do is to make a quick stop, get herself ready, and then shoot. It may take us a long time to feel it, but in reality, it would be about 3 seconds. We will not be able to hit Milim in flight, so we only aim at the moment when it is in flight. I will induce Milim's behavior by repeating a series of attacks, and then I will invoke Void God, Azathoth, to create an opportunity for Feldway's interference with Milim's thoughts and actions. Regalia Dominion. Leon and Zelario supported me with their all-out attacks, so I think my success rate increased. It was the most powerful attack by Benimaru, Ciel, Leon, Zelario, and the above 4 from the wave attack by Magus. Even Milim should stop her movement and defend herself at least a little. That was the summary of the plan. Then, the moment of decision comes. Milim was about to attack the tree, but she stopped in the air. The attack of Magus started. As if it was a beautifully staged event, the beam cannons were emitted in a single, unwavering movement. Normally, I would have admired the scene, but now was not the time to do so. I could see that the ray of light was a high-power heat ray equivalent to nuclear magic. Nuclear cannon. A robot weapon that can shoot such a beam of light in rapid succession. Urton has a great hidden gem. Well, let's talk about that some other time. As expected, Milim is not a match for us. Benimaru's precise command has focused the rays of light to a single point. The focal point temperature is over 100 million degrees Celsius, and it seems to be in trouble, but Milim can't see it. Milim doesn't understand it, because it doesn't even take a defensive posture and ignores them. It looks flashy, but is this attack meaningful? It distracted Milim and bought a little time. Oh. It's almost meaningless, but it did its job, didn't it? Oh, Milim puts her hands out in front of him. She doesn't seem to be distracted at all, and no matter what I do, it won't work at this point. At this point, I can only rely on the attacks of Benimaru and others. Ciel made the first move. 1,000 hand shadow kills. Ciel's shadow grew and became 1,000 hands to capture Milim. But, even though Ciel's power, the ultimate gift Moon King Tsukiyomi, was activated with all his might, he could not even stop Milim's movement for a moment. And insta-kill would never work. I had expected this from the beginning, but unfortunately, I could not even get Milim to pay attention to me for a moment, but Ciel was not the type to give up after that. He moved himself to pin Milim in place. Don't worry. That was Ciel's split body. Oh, that's right. I was impressed by this very useful usage. In this way, Ciel had succeeded in slightly impeding Milim's movement, though he had failed to achieve his goal of stopping Milim's movement. Then, as if to cover Ciel, the ultimate destructive light danced wildly. Disappear as dust, 100 split light breaker. This is Leon's special move. Each of his flashes was the size that could swallow a person, and it was the most powerful technique imaginable, disintegration that changed its trajectory at Leon's will. Needless to say, Ciel's split body was instantly reduced to dust. Milim, however, is unmoved. Milim is unfazed. From the moment Drago Nova was ready to be activated, an invisible barrier was generated to envelop Milim. It was clothed in the shimmer of star particles, and completely prevented even the spirit attack. It was definitely better than Covenant King, Uriel's absolute defense. Leon's technique was so powerful that even I had a hard time with it, but it ended without much effect. But the attack was not the end. Before the result of Leon's attack, Zelario also made his move. Insanity Hash. Zelario, who is the epitome of quality and strength, seemed to accept Benimaru's instruction without any resistance. He would not make any mistake if he promised to cooperate with Benimaru. He seemed to think that it is the duty of a soldier to obey his commander, even if he is the enemy, and he was a surprisingly trustworthy man, even though he was the enemy. At the same time as Saui's attack, Zelario is performing a move. I don't know how he did it, but it was a technique that he had never shown even when he was fighting against Leon and Saui. Zelario's heart sword, which can cut even Elenium's exoskeleton in two, has the power to kill just by swinging it. Now, it is aimed at Milim with the intent to kill. The existence value, estimated to be over 20 million, was no exaggeration. It was a blow with a higher density of sword pressure than Saui's and Leon's attacks combined, and it was a blow of divine speed to the point of stupidity. But, however, Milim's invisible barrier glowed brightly, but that was all. It was an unbelievable sight. Each of them must have been too powerful to be underestimated. And yet, to Milim, it did not seem to make much sense. And that was enough time for Benimaru. Benimaru has a fearless smile on his mouth, as if he is showing his true belligerent character. Now, here comes the real work. Saui, Leon, and Zelario move accordingly, though they do not actually say it out loud. It was as planned from the beginning. Benimaru's colon was shining beautifully red in his hand. It was a terrifying red light that would burn away all matter, but it mingled with Benimaru's blackened haki. Prominence acceleration. It was a radiance like the black sun. The jet-black darkness was colored by red flames. The black and crimson sunlight with vicious violence took the shape of an oriental dragon. Then, as if it had a will of its own, it swirled and attacked Milim, trying to swallow her up. Milim had no choice but to react to this. Because Benimaru's prominence accelerated excitation of the sunlit black flame recorded tens of millions of energies, even though it was instantaneous. The power is calculated by the relationship between the output and the amount of energy. No matter how much energy is used, if the output is low, the power is weak. On the other hand, no matter how large the output is, if the energy level is low, the power cannot be high. In the case of Benimaru, the power output was perfect. The total amount of energy was not small, but it was not enough to fight against Milim. How could Benimaru have unleashed such a super powerful special move? I have lent him the power of the master. I'm not aware of any symptoms at all, Ciel-san, but what are you doing on your own? Well, I don't have a problem if it helps everyone, but you should have explained it to me first. We were still in the experimental stage, so we thought we'd report back after we had succeeded. Too much perfectionism as usual. I guess it's just a minor experiment from Ciel-san's point of view, but it's important for me. No, let's not complain about it later. For now, I'll ask for an explanation of what happened. Ciel-san says that my ultimate skill Void God, Azathoth, has an inexhaustible supply of turn null, an energy that is difficult to handle. Ciel-san has been studying how to utilize this energy. As a part of such experiments, he approached some executives to negotiate with them. I thought to myself, if that's the case, why don't I do the experiment myself? I would never put the master in danger. Ciel denied it. I thought it would be safer in the labyrinth, but Ciel-san seemed to be unable to tolerate such a situation. Ciel was too overprotective, but I guess Ciel should be thankful that I was the target. Anyway, Ciel-san had devised and built a system to supply the energy of turn null secretly to some people who are connected to me through Soul Corridor. It was truly Ciel-sensei's element. In principle, it seemed to be an application of supply and demand, but it was also a very effective way to use the ultimate skill Void God, Azathoth and Harvest King, Shub-Niggurath. The secret of Benimaru's instantaneous surge of power was this the nihilistic supply, although this mechanism seems to be still in its infancy. Prominence acceleration of the sunlit black flame bites Milim as if to wrap around her. Milim's movement stops as she tries to shake it off. Manipulation Yasei binding formation. Saui's threat seizes Milim. 100 split light prison. At Leon's will, the cage of disintegration is completed. The invisible barrier twinkles like a star, but Milim's Drago Nova is not activated. This bought them enough time. By the way, Zelario did not seem to have any capturing technique, and he only applied pressure with haki. It was effective enough, but it was a secret that he felt it was not enough. Now, the ideal situation is set. I too, am ready. To make sure that everyone's hard work is not in vain, we must make this a success. Ciel-sensei. Leave it to me. I don't think it's right to ask for skills help at the critical moment, but Ciel-san and I are one and the same, so it's just as if I'm doing my best. After I have armed myself with a perfect theory like this, I wait for the results while bracing myself. Reset. It worked very easily. It seems that Ciel-san also understood the power of the Justice King, Michael, and was able to cancel the influence by duplicating it. Thus, Feldway's Regalia Dominion, which had been affecting Milim, completely lost its effect in that instant. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.